When you assign resources to tasks, you naturally incur costs because resources cost you. Let's have a look at what it's costing us so far. I'll just close this. I want to insert a column, so I'll right-click predecessor, for example, and then left-click insert column, and I'll press C for cost. Cost means total cost. Here is the total cost of my contract, $10,386. And so this is then broken down to show me where these costs are incurred. And all of these costs are resource costs. These are all wages, the cost of employing resources. If I then have some quotes, some fixed costs, one-off costs that I need to assign to various tasks, I need to bring in another column. I'm going to right-click Cost and Insert Column and hit F for Fixed Cost. And here I can enter my fixed costs. And so I've got some here. For example, I've got $25,000 needed to order the paint. So I just type 25,000 in the fixed cost column. Then I need to put another fixed cost to deliver is going to cost me $500. So there's going to be a $500 delivery cost. Now if I don't like the fact that these are left aligned, I could right click and go into field settings and make those right align. And I could do the same with cost. Right click, field settings, and right align. So every column also has its own field settings that you can customize, and I think particularly in the case of monetary amounts, we need to right align them. But besides the field settings, you can also create your own custom fields. Like I would really like to see the total cost broken down into fixed cost and into resource cost. But there's no column that I can insert if I right-click cost and insert column. There's no R, there's no resource cost. There's a remaining cost, but no resource cost. So I'd like to create a column. So I'll escape. I'll right-click cost. I'll choose custom fields, and I'm going to use some of the spare fields that come with project. There are spare text fields listed here. Here's the type text, and here they are listed. And there's about 30 spare text fields. If I hit the drop down here, there's also spare date fields. There's spare number fields. These can all be renamed and utilized for storing information. So like some of my clients, they actually want a column with client name. And so they'll actually create rename one of the spare text fields, and they'll use that for entering that data. Some of them want to use some of the spare cost fields and call it invoice amount, and that's where they'll enter that amount. I want to grab a spare cost field, so I'm going to change it to cost, and I'm going to grab the cost 1 field, and I'm going to rename it resource cost, because I want to see the resource cost. If I click OK, I could just go OK now and just use it for data entry. But I don't want to do data entry. I want it to actually calculate the resource costs. So I'm going to go a little bit further. If you just need it for data entry, you just go OK and insert the resource cost column. If you need it to calculate, click the formula button. When I go into the formula button, it says resource cost is equal, and now it's wanting to know what. Well, it's a field, and it's a cost field, and it's called cost. Remember, cost is total cost. So it's the total cost minus a field in the cost category called fixed cost. Total cost minus fixed cost will give you the resource cost. So I click OK. It says if you've done any data entry into that column, you will now lose it. So I go OK again, and then I go OK again. So I've created a custom field. Now I need to insert it. So I right-click cost, I insert column, and I hit R. And here it is here. Here's the resource cost calculated column that I created, which is utilizing one of the spare cost fields. Now when I look in here, and I might go to field settings, right-click, field settings, and right align the data. Now when I look at it, I can see, for example, that the total cost of ordering and acquiring the paint is $25,225, of which $225 is a resource cost, and that's attributed to the painter, and $25,000 is a fixed cost. Same with delivering the equipment. There's a $500 fixed cost delivery fee, plus there's $225 in resource costs, which is again being paid to the painter. So very handy. Unfortunately, the resource costs and the fixed cost columns do not sum at a project summary or a summary task level. That has unfortunately always been the case, and so we just have to accept that. Do not type in it or you will double your costs. So you can create columns that you just do data entry in, or you can create columns that calculate information. You can easily hide columns as well, simply by right-clicking and hiding the fixed cost, hiding the resource cost, and hiding the total cost. You can also easily filter columns. So for example, if I wanted to filter any of these columns, they've all got little down triangles. If I went to the resource names column and hit the down triangle, I could say, look, don't give me all tasks, just give me the tasks involving the painter. And OK. And so this is the painter's Gantt. And just the things that are important to them. If I thought, and the filter shows a little funnel. If I thought, no, I want to produce a Gantt, but just for the labourer, I'll hit the drop down, I'll take off the painter, and I'll say, just show the labourer. And that's the labourer's Gantt chart. So you can filter. And so if your row numbering skips, it may be that you've got a filter applied. And how you find out where the filter is there will be a little funnel just to the right of the column heading. And you can easily clear the filter simply by choosing the option to clear. I can filter on duration, and I could filter out all those tasks that have a 0 duration, which would show me my milestones, and I can easily clear the filter as well. Besides filtering based on the column heading, you can also go to View, and in the View section you also have a filter option, and you can filter out milestones, you can filter out summary tasks, and there are just the summary tasks. You can filter out any of the options listed, just the tasks within a certain range, those tasks that are incomplete, and even critical tasks. Or you can choose no filter if you want to completely remove any filters that are applied to this table. Besides filtering and unfiltering, you can also highlight certain tasks. So we have an highlight option here. If I hit the highlight option, I can ask it to highlight summary tasks, and there you can see it there. Or I could ask it to highlight milestones, and there it is there. Or I could say no highlight. So we have the ability to filter and to highlight. We have the ability to collapse and expand to certain outlines, which we looked at earlier. You also have the ability to sort. Be very careful with that, because you could sort it and completely disorganize the data, and be careful with grouping as well. Tables we'll look at in more detail shortly, but so far we've been working with the entry table, which I've mentioned in quite a few videos. The table on the left hand side is known as the entry table.